Hello there, my stamping friends. Susan here with Pumpkin Hill Stampers. So today I'm doing my first template class video. Today I'm going to be going through making this Hinge Fancy Fold template, and then I'll go ahead and show you how I cut my materials, and then I'll make another sample for you out of more paper here. So you'll get to see me from start to finish. So if you've signed up for my class, you received in the mail a pre-made template. Okay, it may look like this. It may have different papers, but it would look like this. Here's the basic template, all put together for you so you can see how the finished item is. And on the back, I've printed out the measurements for all the materials you need to prep. In addition to that, you have received this printout with the photo, and again, those same measurements, and then the instructions I'll take you through on the video so that you can complete the card, whether you can watch the video or whether you're just following along with the instructions. And first, also with your kit, you would have gotten a pre-cut sample kit. So another set of materials that's all pre-cut for you, ready for you to just go ahead and follow the instructions along with me and put together your first card, and then you can decorate it up any way you want to and send it off to somebody who is card worthy. But I'm going to show you on the video prepping materials using your template to start from, and then I'll finish that project off with you as well. So the idea here is you now have a finished template with instructions, right? Go ahead and create a box, right? A saving box for you to put all your templates from the different months in, and then when you want to make this style again, you just go pull this out and you use this to help you prep your materials. So that's what I'm going to do. So I've picked some coordinating cardstock and a piece of designer series paper. This one's from the Painted Christmas paper, which is currently in the fall catalog, and I'm going to take you through how I go from my template to a new kit of materials and then putting it together. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut my cardstock. Okay, so I'm going to bring my paper cutter up. I have one of these old styled paper cutters, but it works for me. So whatever type of paper cutter you use, you're going to have your paper cutter. And then I have my template and I have my materials. Okay, so my template, I'm going to flip it over. It tells me the card base is 7 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my piece of cardstock to 5 1/2. Okay, that's half a sheet. And then I'm going to turn it and I'm going to cut it at 7 1/4. Okay, so I'm right here. My template's right here. I can read my instructions as I'm prepping my stuff. So here's 7 1/4. Okay, so there's my first card base. Okay, I'll do the scoring after. It says I need a hinge for my card, which is 1 1/2 by 4. Well, I don't think this little scrap is quite 1 1/2. It's 1 1/4. You could use it. It would just be a little thinner than the one on the instructions. But I'm going to go ahead and cut 1 1/2 by 4. So let's see, 3 1/4, 3 1/4 is not going to leave me 1. Oh yeah, it will. All right, so I'm going to cut 3 1/4 first. Now, why am I cutting 3 1/4? Because this card has this piece here on the front, and I need 2 pieces at 3 1/4. So if I cut 3 1/4 here, and then I cut 3 1/4 twice again, or you could cut 6 1/2 and then cut it in half, whichever way you want to think about it. Okay, there's my 2 3 1/4, and then I have this piece, which is wide enough. So I need that piece to be 4 by 1 1/2. So I cut that at 4, and then I can cut it at 1 1/2. Okay, so here's my little hinge. So what do I have left? I have just a little bit of this paper left from that one sheet of cardstock to make my card base. Okay, so you could make tags out of it, you could make elements out of it to embellish your card after you're done. So whatever you needed to do, you could use these bits or just put them in your scrap bin, right? I have different envelopes, clear envelopes with the written color on them in my scrap bin, and then I just go and pull them out when I'm doing another project that I need that color. So I don't throw away much cardstock even after I've cut it. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is score my lines. So I come back to my instructions. So my base is, okay, again, it's 5 1/2 by 7 1/4, and it tells me to score the base at 3 inches. Okay, so I'm going to score that at 3 inches. Okay, then it tells me I have my hinge, right, which is 1 1/2 by 4, and it tells me to score it at 1. So I'm going to score that at 1. Okay? And then these two are just the way they are. So now I've done my cutting and my scoring for the card base. Okay, so now we have to do the cutting for the different sections of our card. Okay, so now I'm going to flip it over. The instructions are here on the back, but I like to actually look at it when I'm doing this part. So, bring my paper cutter back. So I've got this piece, so it's got this nice bold print on this side with the greens and the reds, and then I've got this muted print on the back. So I picked the soft seafoam as my coordinating card base to go with this. So I'm going to put this color here on the front. I'm going to put the very active print here on this one, and then I haven't decided if I'm just going to use Whisper White on the inside or if I'm going to put this on the inside as well. So I'll go back to that in a minute. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to cut my 3x3. So I'm just going to come in here and cut a 3x3. Okay, so that's going to go there. And then I need a 5 1/4 by a 2 3/4. So let's see, this is 3, so I can get 5 1/4 by 2 3/4 from that piece. So this one's going to be underneath here. So now I have to decide kind of in my head, do I want my inside liner to be just standard white, or do I want to put this print in there as well? Now I might put the print in there because it's a very neutral pastel light color. So if I just go ahead and cut that one, looks like my paper is not cut quite straight, so let's find a straight edge. Okay, that one's straight. So 4 by 5 1/4. So we'll see how we like that when we get that inside. Okay, so I've got my card base, I've got my DSP layers. Now, if you didn't want to use DSP, you could stamp these sections, but you know what size they need to be now in order to make the card. Okay, so don't, just because we're doing it with DSP doesn't mean you have to do it with DSP. It's your card, make it your way, and your way is if you want to stamp it, or if you want to color some sections, whatever you want to do, it's your card. But I'm just showing you this way with the DSP. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and use my bone folder and score along my 2 score lines. That one's for the base, and this one's for the hinge. Okay, so you can see the hinge is going to end up going here, right? And you can see that from your template. You can see the hinges right here, and then these pieces are going to get sandwiched on that hinge to finish that off, and then we'll decorate it. Okay, so here's the bit that when I made my first template, I forgot. Put the hinge on first. Okay, so put some adhesive on that 1 inch section of the hinge, the 1 inch that we scored off. Open your card, and then I'm going to put mine in the middle, but you could put it down, up, or low. It depends on your card, right, where you're going with it, but I'm going to shoot first kind of in the middle. So I'm not measuring it to make sure it's perfect, I'm just aiming for the center. Now, why do I say to do that first? Well, if you don't, your hinge piece is going to show, or you can always put it on the back, right? It's going to show on the back, but it wouldn't be on the inside of your card. But then when you put your liner in, it's going to cover up that hinge, so that's not going to be seen, okay? Alright, so now we've got that. So now I've got my 2 bases here that are 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. So what I did here is I'm going to go ahead and put adhesive right on this tongue, but I'm stopping short because this part is going to be shown. Okay, so stop short, and then I'm just going to put my square over the top, and I'm lining it up with this edge. Okay, so that's squared off, and then I'm just going to press down to adhere that. Okay, so don't guess. Don't put it on the back here and then try to line it up. Go ahead and put it right on your hinge, and then put the card mount to it. Now when you flip it over, again, I'm going to put my adhesive here, but I'm also going to put it along the edge of that square. And now this one, it's the same size, so just put it together like a sandwich, right? 2 parts of a sandwich. Now guys, if you're really short on cardstock for some reason, you don't necessarily have to put this one on the inside. It just kind of finishes off this element, but it's your card. You don't have to do everything exactly the same. Okay, I'm just showing you the finished item that I'm doing here. Alright, so there we go. Did you make yours? Did you follow along as I was putting mine together with the kit you got in the mail? So you should be able to have your base done at this point if you're going along with me. If you haven't and you want to pause the video here, pause it, go do this part, and then come back. Okay, so it's totally up to you, whatever way you learn best. But I want you to be making your sample kits. That's the whole idea. You got the template pre-made, you got the instructions, and then you got a kit pre-cut for you so you could follow along and make it while I was making mine for you. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add my DSP panels. So like I said, I'm going to put the tame pattern on the front here. And I'm going to put the more active pattern on this part here. Now a lot of times you can use one piece of DSP because the two sides most likely will coordinate with each other, or you could mix and match them from your DSP sets. A lot of times we'll have mixed matched papers. They're all usually in the same color group together, so you can mix and match them, whatever you want to do with it. Or you could stamp some panels, emboss some panels, whatever you want to do with your card. Okay, so from the front there I've got that, and then remember I said I couldn't decide whether I wanted this on the inside or whether I wanted to just use a piece of white. I think I am going to go ahead and use that on the inside. So I don't remember off the top of my head what your kit had. It may have had another piece of DSP for the inside. It may have just had a neutral piece of cardstock. So this class is open to anybody who can sign up at any time, right? I have them paired off as two kits a month, but you can get a previous month if you've missed it. Just let me know, and I will cut you kits. All the kits that I send out are made from retired papers most of the time, as I have a nice big back stash of lots of beautiful paper. So when you get your kits, they're not necessarily going to be the ones you're seeing in the video, but they all go together the same. Okay, so there is my kit for you, okay? So you just put your pieces on. Okay, so now you have this part. So now you can go and decide what you have from your own collection of stamps, embellishments, ribbons, whatever you want to do with it, sentiments, and deck out your card so you can use it, right? And if you don't have a reason to use it right now, save it and add that kind of stuff later. But I'm going to go ahead and finish this card off. So I've pulled the stamp set Very Best Occasion, and I'm going to use the two holiday greetings here. I've also gone and gotten my garden green ink because it coordinates with my paper here that I used. So I'm going to stamp a tag here. Now I cut this tag from the, I want to say detailed tags. I'll have it in the post of what it's called. I can't remember if it's delicate tags or detailed tags, but I'll have it in post. Alright, so there's my tag. So there's that. Okay, and then now here's another option. On the inside, I could stamp right on this DSP, or I could stamp on white. I'm going to stamp it on the DSP first, see if I like it. So I think my dark ink is going to show up nice on here. So I'm going to put the second greeting right there. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, so I have my greetings for that. I have my tag. Now, something else I have from the holiday catalog right now are these fun little embellishments, these little balsam wood embellishments. They're called textural elements, and I went and got my real red blend marker. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dye my element, because this kind of goes with the paper, right? Goes with this pattern in here. And the nice thing I like about the blends is they dry pretty quickly. So you could dye these with your ink pads, your Stampin' Right markers, your re-inkers, whatever you have, but the blends do dry nice and quick. So, and they're vibrant colors, so I do like to use them for that kind of stuff. Alright, so I've got that, and that can go right in here. Right, see how it's going to tie in with that piece? And then I also have this garden green ribbon. Let's see, I'm going to tie a little bow. We'll see how it goes. Alright, so I'm just going to do my bunny here, 2 loops, and then try to crisscross them to make a bow. You guys have seen me do this before. Just kind of a nice simple bow. A lot of times it comes out nice and even. And you can hold the tails and then pinch those with 2 fingers and then pull the bow part, and then you can kind of adjust it to be bigger or smaller until you have it just the way you want it. Alright, so there's my little bow. Let's see. Put my little bow on there. See, my tag has to move over a little bit so I don't cover it up. But yeah, I can do that. Alright, so I'm just going to clean up these edges a little. If I bring my tails together and I hold it, maybe I won't trim my fingers. Let's see. Alright, so I got my little bow. I've got my little embellishment there. So I'm going to go ahead and just put my tag down flat because my embellishment is going to have some height to it. Okay, so I'm just going to put this on like this. Now you could do whatever you wanted on this front part, guys. You could put flowers on it, you could stamp a panel, you could add the sentiment, whatever you want to do with the project you have. Remember, it's your project, do what you want. But the sample kit I sent you is just for practice. So even if you put it together and you're not thrilled with it, you still had a hands-on experience of putting together this type of fun fold, and then you can go and use your own materials to cut projects the way you want them. Alright, so I'm just kind of pulling those glue dots behind the element here so they're not too globby. Okay, so I'm going to put this over here. Now it looks kind of far away, but remember I'm going to put this little ribbon on there too. So I just used glue dots there, and I'm just going to use a glue dot on the back of my little bow there too. And I'm going to put him right there. And there we go. Alright, so there we go. That's our fun fold template number 1. The Hinge fold. And I hope those of you who purchased the template class either put them together with me and pause the video when you needed to, or we'll put them together now so that you can do a hands-on practice of seeing how the parts work, seeing how all the pieces go together, okay? And then you have the instructions. You have the physical template, you have your instruction sheet if you hang on to it, and you have the instructions measurements here on the back, okay? These will be posted into my blog as well when I send you your email with the kit. Email with the kit instructions and the links here to the videos. I'll have a link to the blog post that has all this on there as well. So it's always going to be there as long as the blog is up and running. And you guys can always email me and say, hey, I lost my link, and I'll send it to you, okay? And if you didn't purchase my template class in the mail and you're just watching the video here and you say, hey, I'd really like to get a pre-made template, or hey, I'd really like to get a practice sample set that's pre-cut, just email me. That's all you need to do. Email me. You can sign up for a class, sign up for this one that I did in November of 2022, or sign up for other ones. I'll send you the link to all the different opportunities for you, and I'm happy to share. So I am in the US, so if you're outside of the US, your postage might be a little bit differently, so your pricing might be a little bit differently, but we can talk about that between you and me. Alright everybody, I hope you enjoyed this template fun fold, and I'll see you again for the next one. Alright everybody, do some fun stamping, make those templates. Bye bye!